Hey y'all, it's Katie. Welcome back to From My Vanity and welcome to a review of the new CoverGirl Clean Fresh line. I received their PR package of 4 new products, or new and refreshed, I should say. I'm not sure if the whole line is revamped, but I definitely know that they've launched the lip oils before because I've gotten them in PR before. But anyway, 4 new products that they did send me not too long ago, and I asked on Instagram, would you guys like a first impressions or just a thorough review after I've tested them, and majority voted for a thorough review. So today I have 4 reviews for you guys from the new CoverGirl Clean Fresh line. So yeah, with that little intro out of the way, let's just go ahead and keep it short and sweet and dive right into my thoughts. First, talk about the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Skin Milk Nourishing Foundation. This little guy here is supposed to be a light coverage foundation. It is not supposed to be a tinted moisturizer, which I feel like, I don't know why, but when I first saw it, I thought it was a tinted moisturizer, but it's not. It says Nourishing Foundation, and maybe Skin Milk threw me off. Anyway, it's supposed to be a very lightweight, dewy finish foundation. I am in the shade 550 light medium. If you are curious, it's a tad bit light for me, but bronzer makes it match. But anyway, if I had to sum up my thoughts in a couple words, it's a nice foundation. Not my favorite though. For starters, I felt like I always had to set this. I'm trying to discover a foundation where I don't have to set it. Maybe I have to try more full coverage mattifying foundations, because whenever it says dewy finish and I try to not set it so that it actually gives you that dewy look, because I'm just curious to try it, it's always sticky and tacky and just, you know, everything catches to it. So I don't understand it. So whenever I use this, I did always set it with a powder. I tried to set it very lightly, but I did have to set it with a powder, so keep that in mind. Applying this, I feel like, was the most difficult part for me. I loved how it wore throughout the day. I shouldn't say loved. I liked how it wore throughout the day. I thought it was very nice, but putting this on, it almost reminded me of the Milani foundation, but not as bad. The Milani Screen Queen foundation. It goes on, it's foundation you have to apply very lightly. Do not put too much on. You have to put very lightly, very quickly, just pat it into your skin and leave it alone. It's going to look a little, it doesn't do what the Screen Queen did from Milani, where it like dots up and balls up almost, or spots up or anything like that. It doesn't do that, but it just looks a little uneven when it's on the skin. But if you just leave it alone, finish out your foundation, finish out, you know, doing your face, when your face is done at the end, it looks good. I really do like how it looks. I have it on today. I've had it on since probably 8 o'clock, and I think it looks very nice. It looks very natural. It kind of looks like I'm wearing a powder foundation. So it is very nice, but it's just a little tricky to put on, because I did notice if I applied too much, which can be very easy because it's such a lightweight foundation, that you would start to apply it and I'd almost get into the mindset of just applying more to get more coverage. And so I would start to put more on, and then it would really start to spot up and just look like it's settling in weird and almost like it's drying, and then I kept like trying to put more on and it would ball up underneath. So I definitely wouldn't consider this a layering foundation or anything you can build up, but if you're very careful, just put it on a light amount. It does wear beautifully. I do notice that this applies better, it looks better, and wears better if you have a very moisturized base. So for this, I have been using the Juno & Co. What is this? Miracle Cream. I'm not saying you have to have this, but just some type of thick cream and just put a very light layer all over your face, and I feel like this applies a lot better. It will catch and accentuate dry patches. My nose is very dry, and I had a little dry patch or like flaky piece of skin, and when I finished out my makeup, like it was just like, hello, dry piece, little flaky piece right here. So it definitely isn't one I would recommend if you have very dry skin, but for me, my skin it's normal to dry. I wouldn't call it extremely dry or anything, because if I put on a good cream, I feel like my skin is just fine. So for me, normal skin, it's great. I don't know what it would be like for oily skin, and I tend to get very oily in the summer, so maybe I'll pull this back out and try it again in the summer. Not sure, but for now, with my normal to dry skin, I thought it wore very nicely throughout the day. I never noticed myself getting super shiny. It definitely has a more healthy glow as you wear it throughout the day and by the end of the night, but not bad. Oh, I did want to say for scent, who was it I was watching? Lauren May Beauty? Someone said that this smells like, was it Rice Krispie? No, Rice Krispie? Some type of cereal. And when I went to apply, I was like, oh yeah, this smells interesting. It smells interesting. And it took me back to my childhood, and I was like, what is that smell? Because I remember smelling that when I was in my teens. It was at a certain point in my life when I was about to have scoliosis surgery. So I was like, what is it about that time that smelling this makes me think back to it, and I remembered it smells like young coconuts. And coconut milk is in here, so it totally makes sense. But yeah, it smells like a young coconut. If you've ever bought a coconut, like the young coconut that still has the white around it, it's a very interesting shape. It's not like a brown coconut that you would think of. It's a young coconut. And right around the time when I was going to have a surgery to correct scoliosis, my parents were into drinking coconut milk because my mom had some health issues that coconut was supposed to be very good for. So anyway, I remember them trying to give it to me to kind of, I don't know, prep my body and just make sure I was in the best health that I could be by trying to get me to drink the coconut milk. Or I think it's more technically called coconut water. Whatever it's called, that stuff that they tried to get me to drink smells just like this. Like exactly. Whenever I put this on now, I think back to those coconuts. So I thought that was funny. Yeah, it's a very interesting smell. It's not the typical coconut smell you would think when people say, oh, it smells like coconut. This actually smells like a coconut. So I thought that was very funny, and I figured I'd throw that out there because it took me a couple times applying this to finally remember what it smelled like. So anyway, interesting smell. If you don't like smells, keep that in mind. But yeah, like I said, overall, I thought this wore really nicely. It's just a little tricky to apply, and you really have to make sure you don't go overboard. My struggle with saying that like I'd recommend this or that I can see myself using it is because it's so light coverage and feels so similar on my skin to a powder foundation. I'd prefer just to wear a powder foundation because with this, like you have to apply this and then you have to put powder on top. At least for me, I always had to put powder on top. I feel like it gave me the same coverage as if I just took a powder foundation. So I feel like I'm doing 2 steps to get the same look that I could do like 1 step with. Does that make sense? And again, this is just a personal preference, but I do want to give you guys my opinions on if I can foresee myself using it. And I don't know, I just feel like for the trouble with having to make sure you don't apply too much and the fact that you have to apply just like a typical liquid foundation, but it doesn't give you anywhere near the coverage of a liquid foundation, I feel like I'd just rather cut corners and just apply a powder foundation and call it a day. I feel like this is just an okay product. I cannot foresee myself like falling in love with it, but I can see myself getting some use out of it. I don't know, if I ever want to go through the effort of putting on a liquid foundation to set it, then I can see myself using it, but honestly, I know myself, I'll probably just reach for a powder foundation if I want the coverage that this gives me. Okay, now that the longest is out of the way, let's move on to this because this is going to be very short and sweet. This is the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Cream Blush. I just tried the 370 Butterflies just because I didn't want to use too many. I kind of know my thoughts, and I'm glad I didn't try all the other ones out because after using this, I'm just not a cream blush person. I feel like I just don't know how to use it properly. Like, it's very pretty and comes out in a little squeezy tube. Like, I like how mess-free it is for a cream blush. And then it's a very pretty color for me, kind of my color. It's got a sheen to it. But my problem is that I don't know how to apply cream blush. And also keep in mind, I'm not someone who likes blush, like a lot of blush. So anyway, whenever I tried to apply this and go very lightly, I would kind of put it on the back of my hand, put a little either with a stipple brush or my finger and try to tap it on. I have it on today. And I just felt like it would leave more of a spotty finish than a very kind of flushed look to your skin. Or it would almost pick up my foundation and almost look like I didn't, you know, like my cheeks are still red, which is why I put on foundation, if that makes sense. Like it gives that skin-like finish, which I guess people are wanting when they're, you know, going for this kind of clean, fresh line. It makes it look like you don't have foundation, but I feel like if I'm wanting to look like that, instead of using these 2 products, I just won't put anything on, and the center of my cheek still has that redness that this gives me without having to do all the steps. Does that even make sense? I don't know. But I'm going to preface this all by saying don't take it too seriously because this is coming from someone who doesn't like blush and doesn't like cream products. I did see Lacey from Spooky Lips and Fat Hips share on her Instagram that she was trying this and it was like the best cream blush she'd ever used. So I would say watch some other reviews before you take my word for it and don't buy this, because if you're someone who likes cream blushes or if you're someone who's good at using them, maybe this would be amazing for you. But for me personally, I know that I'm not going to use this anymore just because I'm not very good at using cream blushes. Let's put it that way. And I just don't like blush. So for me, I'm just always trying to get such a little bit because I don't like a ton of blush that I feel like I am doing this blush a disservice because I'm just not letting it live up to its full capabilities. Next up, we have the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Cooling Glow Stick. I have no idea what they're talking about with the cooling aspect of it. I mean, when you swatch it, oh, this is in the shade So Gilty 400. I mean, when you swatch it, it does feel a little cold. Sure, I'll give it that, but I feel like usually cream products have a bit of a cold feel to it anyway. This is the only highlight I have on. I have worn this underneath my powder, like right after I put on my foundation, and also today I forgot about it. That's the problem with cream products. I always forget about it and I set my face. So today I had set my face and I was like, oh no, like I'm doing a review, I have to wear this. So I very gently tapped it over and I feel like it looks great, and also on top of still looking good, it didn't disturb my foundation at all, and I feel like it still is there. Like I said, I put this on, my makeup on around 8 or 9 and it's now 1:30. And I feel like it still looks great. So this, out of all the products that I've tried in this review, I really like, and I can foresee myself getting use out of it, mainly because I can use this. It doesn't disturb my foundation. I can use it over powder. So overall, I was really happy with this. Here, let me just swatch a big swatch. I only grabbed one color to try. I think they sent me like 3 or 4, but this is really pretty and I figure would be up my alley. I think you guys can see that shift. It's really, really beautiful, and I feel like would really amplify any type of highlighter that you wanted to put on top. So if you're someone who likes to layer, I feel like this would look fantastic. And if I put a highlighter on top of this, it would just take the highlighter to the next level and just look so beautiful. Another thing I noticed with this is that it stays all day. Like when I wash my face at night, this is still very obvious and it just looks like my skin, which I think is another reason I like this so much. It doesn't sit on top of my face. It doesn't have a lot of like glitter to it. It doesn't just have this streak on it. It really melts into my skin and it's just nice. I feel like it's really nice. Like I said, I can totally see myself using this on the more natural days when I'm not wanting to go all out and just have a bolt of like a streak of lightning on my face. This is a really nice natural highlight, but still very reflective highlight. Alright, and very last up is the Clean Fresh Tinted Lip Oil. This is nice. It's a nice lip oil, but I'm not going to really review it just because I feel like with the lip oil, you have to wear it for a long time and like use it exclusively to really see if the lip oil and nourishing aspect does anything for your lips. So I'm not going to really say much to that, though it is a nice lip oil. I will say if you're wanting to buy this as a lip oil to give you this color, don't get this expecting that. I feel like I'm super bright. Hang on. Sorry, I kept catching myself in the viewfinder and felt like I was a ghost. Anyway, if you're wanting to buy this shade, which I used the shade Sour Grapes 150, don't get it because it does not give you that. This is the color I have on my lips right now. And I mean, it will give you some of that purpley color, which like, as you can see, like there's a little bit of purple, but the minute you like put your lips together and really even it out, I feel like it just tints your lips a very natural color, at least for me and my lips, I guess I should say. I don't know if different pigmentations will, you know, look differently. But anyway, it's nice. I will say though, with it being this type of tinted, it's not as good, or it won't ever replace for me personally my Butter London Sheer Wisdom Lush Lip Oils. These, I just feel like, and these have come in many different colors and I've tried the darker ones. These are just so smooth in applying that they just glide on effortlessly, and I feel like I don't have to fix them. Whereas when I apply this, especially the drier my lips are, I feel like the pigment catches in weird areas, so I kind of have to make sure I tap it over or put my lips together or just kind of fix it. And even if I feel like my lips are in a good place, if you put your lips together, you can often get a darker color line on the outer rim of your lips, almost like a lip liner effect. If you've tried a lip oil, I feel like you'll know what I'm talking about. It's just there's not an even distribution of color when it comes to this. Unlike with this Butter London one, I feel like it's just so pigmented. I can apply this without looking, and I often do because I have these everywhere and I just use them so often. I'll just apply it to my lips, and I don't really have to check in the mirror to make sure that when I smush my lips together, there's an even color and it doesn't look weird, because it just always glides on very evenly, and it's so pigmented and it's just so smooth on my lips that it just looks great. That's basically what I'm saying. Whereas this one, I noticed when I was wearing it, it might be just because I have the darker color. Maybe the lighter ones you wouldn't matter because there's just not enough color to notice, if that makes sense. But with this darker one, I did notice that anytime I applied it, I had to make sure I checked in the mirror to make sure there wasn't any weird line around my lips or just all the color kind of getting stuck under a dry patch of my lips. So that's kind of my thoughts when it comes to this tinted lip oil. It's very nice. It's an affordable product at the drugstore, so if you're wanting to try a lip oil and see if you like how it feels, maybe get this one. I will say though, I feel like this one's just a little bit more creamy and smooth and effortless on the lips, and this one, it is also creamy and smooth, but thinner is what I would say. Not as not as thick and almost rich as this one, but it is, you know, it is a lip oil. So if you're wanting to try lip oil and see if you like it, maybe check this line out. But yeah, overall, it's a nice product. Didn't blow my socks off. I can't really attest to if the lip oil aspect really, really helps my lips because I've only been wearing it for like 2 weeks, but it's a nice product. It's okay. Nothing to write home about, but it's okay. Alright, so there you have it. Those are my reviews for the 4 products that CoverGirl sent me from their Clean Fresh line. I will continue to use them for the rest of this month. I have like a week and a half left, and maybe you'll see some of them in my monthly countdown at the end of the month. Whether that's good or bad, you'll have to wait to see. But anyway, I hope it was helpful for you guys to hear my thoughts on them. Let me know if you've tried any of these products, if you are curious to try any of these products, if you plan to pick any of them up. I'd love to hear that down in the comments. And yeah, I'm going to keep this outro very short and sweet. Thank you so much for taking your time out of the day to watch my video, and I will see you very soon in my next one. Bye guys.